Always curious, Professor George Washington Carver committed his life to scholarship, community, and the integration of his Christian faith with higher education. It's in this spirit we welcome you to Carver Classrooms.
In our first session, I introduced you to confident pluralism, the vision that we can and must work across our deepest differences in a way that recognizes the importance of our own beliefs and the reality that others around us do not share those beliefs. Confident pluralism depends on both legal and civic commitments, and in today's section, we're going to focus on the legal commitments, in particular, the civil liberties contained in the First Amendment. I want to begin with two key framing thoughts. First, whatever modest unity we attain will need to include a commitment to civil liberties for everyone, for the people whose ideas we like and the people whose ideas we don't like. Second, civil liberties are for losers. Or less provocatively, civil liberties are always for the political minority, those who lack political power and lose political battles. If you're in the majority, you get to write the laws or exemptions from those laws to protect your interests. But if you're in the minority, sometimes you need civil liberties as protections against those laws. And the people in power and the political losers can quickly change positions, which is another reason that civil liberties must be for everyone. Today, I'd like to discuss three key aspects of civil liberties essential for confident pluralism: the right of association, the public forum, and public funding. Let's start with the right of association, the ability of people to form and gather in groups of their choosing. From Madison to Tocqueville, the great democratic theorists have recognized that the right of association is essential to a healthy society. It comes with a cost. The right to associate means the right not to associate. And that means that the private groups of civil society, for the most part, get to set their own membership requirements, even those that exclude others. There are exceptions, many of them coming from the era of Jim Crow and the need to break private monopolies of power and influence that rejected the basic rights for Black Americans. But in most other contexts, we have to be able to form and sustain our own private groups in civil society on terms that we set for ourselves. The second legal commitment is the public forum. The public forum is a long-standing and somewhat complicated First Amendment concept, but the basic idea is that we must have public spaces to come together with all of our differences and express those differences to government officials, to one another, to anyone who will listen. That means everything from carefully orchestrated dialogue to spontaneous protests, as long as they happen peaceably. And it means that we accept a degree of risk and instability in our coming together. Without this opportunity to express ourselves in the public forum, our differences fester and we are not able to share and communicate our deepest beliefs. One important aspect of the public forum is that it is public. The government, on behalf of the people, opens and operates the public forum. In past eras, this meant streets, sidewalks, and parks that remained open for public debate and protest. But in recent years, many of these public forums have been replaced by private ones, privately owned neighborhood associations, private malls, and private social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. These developments raise important and still unanswered questions of what we do in the absence of a true public forum, and whether some of those private public forums should be subject to greater government regulation for the sake of facilitating discourse and debate for the rest of us. The third and final legal commitment is to certain kinds of generally available public funding. Facilitating the public forum means funding the public forum. The government pays for the land and the buildings that house the public forum, and it pays for the staff who manage that forum. That means the government pays for a wide range of viewpoints and beliefs to be spoken. In other contexts, the government similarly subsidizes a wide range of private groups to express their beliefs and values through generally available benefits like tax exemptions. You'll notice that I haven't said anything about protections for religious groups. We have those protections, like the constitutional guarantee to the free exercise of religion, protections for church leaders under a doctrine called the ministerial exception, and statutes like the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. These protections matter, and they are worth defending. But the posture of confident pluralism looks more broadly to protecting different viewpoints and beliefs, whether they are religious or not. This is one way that Christians can embrace a deeper commitment to living in a pluralistic society that includes not only religious difference, but also many differences that arise with non-believers. Civil liberties are for political losers, but they are for all political losers. Christians must stand up for others' rights, not just our own. And this will mean defending even people who we think are spreading harmful ideas. The person of a different faith who is arguing against the gospel. The person whose policy preferences we find misguided or even evil. We can hope that we will persuade people away from the errors and harms we see them embracing. But we have to guarantee and defend their right to believe and act differently from us, even as we ask them to do the same on our behalf. This is both the compromise and the possibility of confident pluralism. As we come to the end of this class, some questions to consider. When do you find it hardest to use the protections of the law in defense of others? When should the law restrict harmful ideas? When do some groups and some ideas go too far outside of the bounds of civil society? And what are some of the groups that are most important to you in your own life? And when are those groups misunderstood by others?